I always feel the pressure to find the perfect gift for my relatives. In this case, whether you're sending an unforgettable gift or treating yourself to everyday perfection, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. For me, I'm not just into steaks. I like all types of meat. That's why I'll usually get the Winter's Best Seller Pack. It comes with juicy fillets, chicken breast, pork chops, and even burgers. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. A family-owned company with over 100 years of experience in the meat industry. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and earn an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code YUM at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code YUM at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Go to omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide plus an extra 20% off select favorites and more limited-time deals during their cyber sale. And use promo code YUM at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. See site for details. A big thanks to our advertiser, Omaha Steaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammer lock. I do the hammer lock. Ray! Do the hammer lock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammer lock. I do the hammer lock.
Everybody's doing it. Hello, friends. I am Chris Things Brian, the host of Wrestling Art with Chris Things, and I am delighted to be speaking to you on a new episode of the show. I am in the middle of the Oddities and Curiosities tour, and I'm at that point where I'm just like sort of at the end of my profile a little bit. Not really, I'm digging it, but I am quite busy, so much so that I couldn't arrange a guest, for this week's episode. But in lieu of not having an episode, I thought I'd come on here and ramble in your ear in a solo edition of the show, because I hate to leave it for a week where we don't have an episode. Try to avoid that as best I can. But also, I feel like I have some things to discuss. I thought I had a fun idea for a solo edition of the show. I thought we could take a bit of a deeper dive into just what is the Oddities and Curiosities Expo and what that has meant to my art practice. And also take you into a day in the life of a travelling art Carny, wrestling art Carny guy. So yeah, I'm sitting here on the front deck of our house, preparing to travel to Sydney tomorrow on an early morning flight to go down and do my final big Oddities and Curiosities Expo of the year in Sydney. Sydney's one of our big cities here in Australia, so I'm hoping it's going to be a big one. It's funny, it's like I say that, I'm hoping it'll be a big one. Obviously that's good for me business-wise, but also, it really takes it out of you. So it's like you have a good thing on one side, a challenging thing on the other, but it is what it is. We make it work. But yeah, getting ready to pack and do all of that thing, get my bags ready and whatnot for the big weekend down in Sydney, and also let's not forget, I gotta get my match of the week illustration done tonight, because it's not like I'm gonna let that thing fall to the wayside now that we're 112 of those deep. 113 was this past week, so it'll be 114 as of tomorrow, hopefully, knock on wood. But yeah, dude, I thought I'd come on here and first of all, let's jump into this Oddities thing, right? So, Oddities and Curiosities Expo, You probably heard about me, waffle on about it in my stories, or sometimes on this podcast. But this is like a touring expo that does a lot of big expos throughout America, Canada. They had their first ever one in Australia in 2023. And I remember when I first heard about that, I thought, oh man, that's interesting. Like, in a way, I think my art is definitely like just a collection of oddities and weird shit. And I was like, that could fit in really well. And this was at the time I hadn't done any like in-person expos before at all. I started doing this thing full-time mid 2023 when I left my previous job as a marketing manager. And yeah, I was like just trying to work out how it works. I was sort of really felt like there was time when I was spinning my wheels. I had some really cool stuff that I did, but then I have really quiet periods, and I really just had no idea how I would in any way be able to make this thing into like a something approximating like a full-time living. So I saw this opportunity came up, and I thought, heck, why not? Let's give it a go. So I, put through my submission and whatnot, and then I was delighted to see that they actually approved my thing and said, yeah, come on and do this Brisbane one. Like, I only applied to do the Brisbane one at that point, having never done this before. And in a way, it felt like I had potentially bitten off a little bit more than I could chew, because I, didn't have any semblance of a setup, like a table kind of setup. I didn't have any idea on what my setup would kind of look like. Nothing like that. I had no idea how to display my art. I had no idea how to sell my art in person. I didn't even have a pay square. I didn't know how I would do any of this, but I just kind of worked it out on the fly. I remember there was a part where I was in, we have this chain of stores called Kmart here in Australia, like a shitty department store kind of deal. And I was trying to work out what I could get to try to be able to prop up my stuff, and make it look sort of semi-attractive to people when they're walking by, get some levels to it or whatever on the table. And there was a point where I just had all of this different options, picnic tables, all sorts of shit, just sitting around me. I was sitting in the middle of an aisle on the floor, just surrounded by all of these different things, trying to envision what they would feel like to be standing behind and for people to be walking by. Oh man, I think any of the store people or passers by, what the heck they might have thought, upon seeing this mess of a person surrounded by whatever. But and then I just kind of did it. I jumped in with both feet, as they say, and I had my partner, my much appreciated partner, Kalen, come along and support and help me out in that first one. I also remember I had another dear friend of mine, Jules, who came along and was such a massive support on that weekend as well, at both sort of an emotional support, as well as things got so busy, dude. That first one, because it was the first ever Oddities Expo in Australia. I remember the Brisbane one, I was just blown away by how busy it was and how many people were there, and more than anything, how many people were actually interested to look at my art, let alone buy my art. It kind of blew my mind in a lot of ways. But I was just sort of going on pure adrenaline. I remember I got to the end of that first day, after somehow making this work, and then just being blown away and felt more encouragement about, making my art and doing this as a full-time deal, than I think I ever had before in a one-day period. I was so jazzed about it by the end of that day. And that day and that weekend, that first ever Brisbane Oddities and Curiosities Expo in 2023 really changed my life. I look back, it's one of those sort of sliding doors moments, I guess, and I'm if that hadn't have gone as well, or if I hadn't have got into the flow that I did, or if I had have been a bit more like nervous, or whatever it would have been. There's so many variables when you're doing these in-person events, but like if that thing didn't like pop off the way it did, I don't think I'd be doing this right now, as a full-time gig. I don't think I would go on to then do all of the in-person events that I've then gone on to do. That was really my leaping off point. So, I'm just so appreciative for the Oddities and Curiosities Expo. Michelle does an incredible job. I mean, the whole team at Oddities does a fantastic job with this thing, and I just feel so appreciative to do it. I then went to 2024 and was like, man, I'm going to do Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney, which was a huge undertaking, and I feel like it almost killed me, in a combination with the timing of it. Like, it's just getting this new place up in the hills and moving and pulling up floorboards, and just the final event being right the week before Christmas was also a big deal. But again, you make it work, and I did, and then this past year did it all over again. And I feel like this year I've sort of I know what it is a little bit more. I guess I can be a little bit more prepared, or mentally prepared for what it's going to be like, or try to set myself up for success a little bit more in that way. But yeah, I guess I wanted to come on here and sort of pull the curtain back and kind of tell you guys what the Oddities and Curiosities Expo means to me. And in addition to it being such a massive thing for my art practice, and really getting me into doing so many of these in-person events that you can check out on christhings.com.au/events. I keep all of the past events on there as well, just for sort of a historical record purpose. So if you ever feel scrolling through to see all the different places I've gotten along to, I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can. But I really enjoy it as well. Sort of I found myself having a lot of conversations this past weekend in Brisbane with different people, that some people that came along to that first one in 2023, about how cool a thing this is, how much I enjoy it, how much I look forward to it each and every year, how much of a unique sort of curated combination of people that you get at this Oddities and Curiosities Expo. It really is a celebration of variety of different alternative scenes of goth and punk kind of stuff, and steampunk things, and all sorts of weird and interesting cosplay stuff. Dude, it's just fantastic as a people watching thing. I love the heck out of it. And then I just find these different kind of folks, I just have the best conversations. And then of course getting back to the wrestling art side of things, within this community there feels a higher amount, proportionate amount of wrestling fans within this sort of alt community, which I really appreciate as well. And I think that says something. I think there's a compliment there for wrestling fans. But yeah, I have so many great nerd out conversations with people on that sort of side of things. So yeah, dude, I really love the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, and I say this as we approach the final one of the year of 2025 this weekend in Sydney at the Sydney Showgrounds. If you were in the Sydney area, Greater Sydney area, please come on down. Tickets are still available, I believe, for the 2-day event, the big Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, dude, I'm really looking forward to it. But I thought I'd take you now inside this sort of day in the life of a traveling art carny, of what my Friday through Saturday looked like last week for the Brisbane one. Now, the Brisbane one's a bit easier than the other ones because it's I still consider Brisbane kind of like my hometown, even though we live up here in the hills of the Sunshine Coast. So we're sort of about an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute drive, from Brisbane. Or you can catch the train. I very much like catching a train, but when I do these events I have a heck of a lot of stuff to take with me, so the train really is not an option. So the Friday, I remember I got up pretty early. I had to get my match of the week post up to start the day. Again, as I'm saying, like, despite having all these like big events and travel and all this stuff going on, we cannot be missing out on the match of the week. So that was my first and foremost thing that I had to do after doing that the prior night. And then on the Saturday morning following that, I was like, all right, dude, you got to pack. So thankfully I had still got most of my stuff relatively together from the previous weekend in Melbourne. But still a lot of things to sort of like juggle and switch around and all that kind of stuff, which I'll be having to do later on today. And so just like getting all the things together, like I think I've said on here before, I stress out so much that I'm gonna forget something important. I'm just going through all the items in my mind. I'm like, charge up the pay square, charge up your power bank, make sure you don't forget this, don't forget that, have all these things packed. Try to work out a good combination of sort of like bringing some original pieces that I might still have on hand, as well as some a lot of framed stuff and all my prints and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff, of course. So just trying to get everything together there. Finally get it all together, and then I'm like, all right, let's get this in the car. And to make things a little bit more tricky, I of course also had to travel down to Brisbane with 2 dogs. So I had to try to juggle the arrangement of the things in a car in such a manner that it would fit, with 2 dogs and they wouldn't be too freaked out. So I did that. We go to leave. I get halfway down the driveway and then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot my high-vis vest thing. So you need this like high-vis vest for the load in and pack down component of these events. I actually forgot it for Melbourne, and much appreciated to Michelle for hooking me up with a loaner, but I was like, I cannot be doing that 2 weekends in a row. My gosh. So I had to come all the way, back home, get that. I go to leave again, and I remember I forgot like coffee beans. So I was staying at my parents' house that weekend, and a big part of what keeps me alive for these big days at the events is bringing a heck of a lot of coffee with me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot turn up empty-handed. So then I had to go all the way back again. So leaving on the third attempt, third time lucky, drive down to Brisbane. It was actually a pretty nice drive from memory. Like, I was pretty stressed out on the leaving part, but once I actually got going, not too bad. Then I get down there. First stop, I have to pick up more art prints from my speciality art printer in Brisbane. So I made a quick stop in there, picked up a whole gaggle of new prints that I was going to be selling at the event. From there, I had to go to my Kaylin's mum's house to drop off Badger. Our dogs can't be left at the same house, same parents' house when we do these things. Don't ask me why. So drop off Badger there. Then go all the way over to my parents' house, which is the whole other side of the city, drop off my dog, then come all the way back into the city to do bump in. So I brought the things in. Shout out to my dad for helping out with that bump in part. He is so lovely and wonderfully supportive. I really, really appreciate him. So I had that bump in. And I was so worried that I was going to miss the time cutoff because you have to get it all in by 5 p.m. I think I like got in the door at like 4:20, so of course everything's just rush. Then I finally get that done, and then that's a bit of a weight off my shoulders. I still have like my prints and stuff to set up on the day of, but at least I got the big stuff all set up. The table, the backdrop thing, like all my main stuff. And then went out for a lovely little knockoff beer with Kaylin when she finished work, and then I was able to catch up with Joe afterwards for a excellent night at the Scratch, my favourite bar in the whole wide world. So I was very happy that the Scratch was able to be a part of this weekend. Then I turned it around the following morning. I'm getting into the show. Again that morning, I'm just like, alright, have I got all the things that I need, all those little things like the pay square and my charging bank and, the coffee, of course. I get in there with, probably like half hour to spare before doors. But I got all the main stuff set up. I had it all ready to go, and then I was just sort of like, I remember being sort of like anxiously excited for the day that would come. And then I remember seeing, when I first came in the doors to this big convention center, massive line, like going all the way down, of such interesting, fascinating, like attired people. And then funnily enough, at the next room of the expo center down there was like a baby convention on, so slightly different vibes of people with like, one line compared to the other. But yeah, I remember standing there and being like, all right, let's do this. And then, man, it was just such a great day. Again, so many great conversations. There was some really busy parts, but it was a really great weekend all in all. So that was my day that was. I got to the end of it, got a knockoff beer at one of our favourite bars in South Brisbane that was nearby afterwards. Had some lovely Indian food, and then did it all again the next day. But yeah, that's kind of like a little snapshot into my life as a travelling art carny. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in Sydney, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a really good weekend. I'm planning on maybe catching a movie while I'm down there. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But yeah, man, that's it. And following that, of course, we have Wrestling Club, the final Wrestling Club of the year, coming up on December 15th, back at the Scratch Bar. So if you would like to come out for what I guess will be our Christmas party of Wrestling Club on Monday night, the 15th of December, please do. Would love to see you there. I got some fun things in mind that we'll be playing, and maybe some Christmassy themed stuff as well. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to come on here and ramble in your ear holes about for this episode. I don't know whether people like these episodes where it's just like a one-sided deal. But I have fun doing them, and they keep me from losing my marbles. It lets me sort of like center myself a little bit, I guess, especially before I go to a big weekend like this that we have coming up. But yeah, if anyone wants to come along, and it still blows me away. I saw a few different people that say they listen to the podcast, and that's still such a weird thing, dude. Like, I don't know. I can't actually envision like people sitting down like listening to this podcast. But anyway, I appreciate that you do. It really makes me happy to hear such things. A big old thank you to everyone out there. Big thank you to everyone as well who has supported the new Chris Things 2026 calendar. Los Luchadores versus Alien Invaders. I've been honestly blown away by the amount of support and the amount of people that have bought this thing and who my weird art and nonsense is going to be accompanying y'all all year for 2026. Makes me very happy. That thing's still available on christhings.com.au if you would like to procure such things. I'll also be bringing it along to the Oddities Sydney this weekend, and then that wrestling club event as well, as we mentioned. But yeah, I also would like to say a big old thank you to the great team at Social Suplex for allowing me to do this podcast. Socialsuplex.com, the home of this podcast, as well as a bevy of other fun professional wrestling podcasts, from One Nation Radio to the New Japan podcast of the network, keeping it strong style. I'm sure some very great content over there in the big lead up to Tanahashi's final match, his big retirement match at the Tokyo Dome in January. Just between you and me, I am very sad that it is against Okada and not Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know if that'll be a controversial take to some, but to me, Nakamura has got to be Tanahashi's all-time career rival, far surpassing Okada. But anyway, that little bit of hate aside, we also have the Trish and Sarah podcast. We've got Tunnel Talk. We've got Imp's WWE Adventure. All things elite. I think there might even still be a AEW match recommendation podcast on there, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, give them a check out, and thank you, Social Suplex, for letting me do this thing. Thank you, everyone out there who supports my stuff, who goes to christhings.com.au and buys a print, who the people that hit me up to get commissions done. That is a very, very much cherished thing to me. I love doing commissions for people. I have a couple that are happening right now that I cannot wait to get to share with everyone out there, that I'm currently working on. So thank you very much to all my current clients that I'm working with. And yeah, thank you as well, just to anyone out there who sends a nice message, who leaves a nice comment, on the Instagram, who shares the things. I really appreciate every bit of the support that you guys give me. And I try to, show that appreciation and give you guys a thank you and let you know how much it means to me as much as I can, both on this podcast. When I send out orders, I always try to do a nice little written note for people. And yeah, especially with the commission stuff, I try to let people know that I really do enjoy getting to do the cool, interesting concepts that come my way. But yeah, I think that's about it for today. Again, as always, if you guys have any fun wrestling art things going on, please let me know. If you have any little things that you might have been working away at yourself, would love to see them. But yeah, please don't be a stranger. I love hearing from you guys. And I've never really done this before, because I'm always just of the assumption that not enough there would actually be no pickup of it. But if anyone ever has a question that you would like me to answer on this podcast, for our loyal few that do listen to this thing, if you would like to send me through such a question, as an Instagram message or as an email, there's a contact page on christhings.com.au, you can do so. I would love that. Make this thing a little bit more interactive. So please feel welcome to do so. I have some fun things planned for 2026. But guys, I appreciate you being here for the ride. I like being able to take you behind the curtain and make you kind of feel part of this process as well, because you are part of this, and I want you to know that. I guess I'm Chris Things Brian. This has been Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Thanks for joining me. Hope you guys have a lovely week. Enjoy.
Do the hammer.